He's not quite close enough, and we have held on to P1. We're burning the battery to the line. He is going to close us down a tiny bit, but it's not going to be enough, and we win the race. Should be able to hold on to that final point as well, but Gasly's closed me up quite a lot over the course of this lap actually, so he might be on course to steal the fastest lap away from me. It remains to be seen. Either way, we crossed the line, and after a very straightforward race, we weren't pressured basically at all. We take the win, so I'm very happy with that. I'm sure Anthony Davidson will have a lot to say about, whilst it might be a reductive statement, speed was the key factor in this race.
Speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races.
I was hoping that we could kind of put our DNFing woes behind us and our car was at least a bit reliable, but unfortunately that's not the case. So yeah, we get our first failure of the race. It's an MGUH failure, and or first failure of the season, I should say. It's an MGUH failure, and that's going to be the end of our Grand Prix. Now, as we come onto lap 24, you see that I'm right behind him. I've got the DRS, and I'm going to be trying to make the move on him if I can make the move on him. We bait him to the inside, go for the dummy, send it around the outside, and we'll see if we can hold on as we come through the hairpin. I think maybe his tyres have gone off a little bit by this point, because we managed to get the superior traction on him. And yeah, I just have so much pace at this phase of the Grand Prix. I don't know why. I was so much slower than everyone at the beginning of the Grand Prix, but now I am significantly faster. And we come to the line, and we're going to hold on. It's P1. Another race win, our third race win of the season. You love to see it. And we managed to make our way up from P12 to P9 by capitalising on the misfortune of a few of the drivers around us. Magnussen will come home P10 just behind us, and yeah, not a terrible result, but certainly something we want to hopefully improve on. We crossed the line and it's good enough for P6. So yeah, pretty decent result all in all. I can't be too disappointed with that, given that it's one of my bogey tracks, and if I'm coming P6 in my bogey tracks, that means I'm definitely a shoe-in for the World Championships. Daniel Ricciardo comes up the inside once again. We're going to try and defend around the outside, but you see he's managed to keep his foot in. He's got a bit of traction. I'm going to squeeze him to the inside of the track. He's going to have to forfeit slightly, and yeah, we managed to hold on to P4 in the end, and that is 12 points contributing to our championship fight this season. As we come up to the line, Ricciardo obviously finishes P6, and here we are, we're about to cross the line, and it will be a P7 finish for us. So not a bad result in the end, but not exactly what I wanted. But we, like I said, we don't lose anywhere near as many points as we would have done if Norris had finished the race. And the lights go out, and we're going to switch instantly to replay view. And you see I have had a pretty decent start compared to the Mercedes, who both started on hards. They've had an awful start, in fact, and Alonso has jumped both of them as well. So me and him started 5th and 6th, and we're up to 3rd and 4th already. So yeah, they may have not played the right strategy starting on hards there, to be honest, but maybe they'll be able to come back into the race later on. After everyone has stopped, they'll be able to hold everyone up for a little bit. I almost ran into the back of Sainz there, and I think we're going to go up the inside of him here at the hairpin. Yeah, we are. And he actually stops for a second there. I'm not really sure why he did that, but it's caused a bit of a pile-up with a few smashed front wings and things like that. And yeah, we managed to hold on to this P2, and what a fantastic result at the Monaco Grand Prix indeed. Things are not quite what they seem. I thought I would throw a little bit of a curveball in here and not show you the radio messages on this occasion, but yes, actually we have had a gearbox failure, and that is the end of our race. I was trying everything I could to make it not so, but when that happens, that's what happens, and there's nothing you can do about it, and that is the end of our race. That's our second DNF of the season in 9 races. And yeah, once again, we are just plagued by our complete lack of reliability, which means that we are now going to have to really break away from Schwartzman, as Hamilton crashes into Leclerc there, and Russell is being held up as a result of that. There's nowhere for him to go either. I think Leclerc must have spun at the chicane or something, and we take home only 6 points, and yeah, that is the end of a difficult Canadian Grand Prix. And we're going to have one more place to defend from Perez here as we come up to the final sequence of corners. Ocon's trying to come up our inside here as we go 3 wide through Brooklands, and eventually we do manage to somehow, despite being in the middle, hold on to that position. And now it's just going to be a drag race to the line. Perez is closing me down, but it's not going to be quickly enough, and we hold on to P5 in that thrilling finish to the Grand Prix. It's not the result I wanted, but at least we grab all of our sponsor bonuses. That will be 750 grand in the bank for us, and it's not something you can complain about when you make that much money on a race weekend. We are going to hold off Ricciardo just about to claim P6 in the sprint, and that is a pretty solid result. I'm burning as much battery as I can to see if I can get involved in that fight as well. I think I'm going to be a bit too far back. They're going to hold each other up as Perez goes out wide, and I think Fittipaldi actually might have got a bit of contact from Perez there. I'm not 100% sure, but it definitely looked like there was some kind of incident that happened between them, as Fittipaldi is now attacking me into turn 3. But yeah, Fittipaldi has held Perez up a treat there, and what that means, I think, is that I've moved into the net lead of the race. So I think we're going to hold on to this unless he can outdrag us to the line through this final corner. 2 tenths behind. I don't think it's going to be enough, and that is our 4th race win. Really? That's how I'm going to celebrate it? Can we rewind that one? As my 4th race win of the season, and I'm pretty happy with that one. So yeah, that was a solid result for us. But I'm always happy to cross the line for P8 in a very chilled, relaxed race. So not quite the result we wanted this weekend, but once I saw the pace of all the other cars, I kind of knew that that was the best we were going to get. And yeah, I think we did a pretty good job to hold on to that. Perez is about 2-3 tenths behind. It doesn't look like he's closing me down significantly. Is he going to challenge me into the bus stop chicane here? He is not. So I think we've managed to hold on here unless he gains some significant straight line advantage as we come to the run to the line. It's not going to be good enough for him, but it is going to be good enough for us, and we close P5 in this race. That is a fantastic result for us after starting P11. And we crossed the line to grab 1 point in P10. Not the best result in the world, but nothing too upsetting. At least we're still in the points. That's all I can really hope for. And yeah, hopefully we can continue being a bit more competitive like we were in Austria and Belgium. Is that the battle for what was P10 before Perez had an incident and had to pit and is now P9 is going on between Robert Schwartzman and Enzo Fittipaldi, which means Fittipaldi is basically guaranteed to score points in this race, and we just have to wait to see if it's going to be 2 or 1 point that he brings home. As we cross the line to take P4, I was a bit delayed on that, my apologies, I was too busy talking about Enzo Fittipaldi, who I'm hyping up a lot, and it's, yeah, a nice 12 points for us. We outperform Perez, so we get the full gambit, $750,000 of sponsor bonuses. Yeah, now we're going to see if we can pile the pressure on Esteban Ocon ahead. We get a pretty good exit from that corner. We managed to carry a lot of speed through it, and now with the battery and with the DRS, we're going to be closing him down, and we're actually going to have a look up the inside here, and we make a bit of contact, but we don't get any damage, and now we're wheel to wheel with him, and we're going to try and go around the outside here, and yeah, we have just about made the place work, I think, because we had the inside at the following corner, which means he was completely unable to fight us back. He is going to have a go at the inside of this next corner, however, which is a similar place to where I overtook Norris on lap 1, but yeah, he can't make it happen. Mercedes were in the box seat to get a 1-2 here, and now they're just getting a 2, and that's it. And this race was a bit of a number 2 for them, I think you'll probably agree. As we round the last few corners, Leclerc's won the race as the fireworks are going off. We've managed to hold off Norris without too much of a problem. We had a few late pressures from him, but nothing too serious, and that is a podium finish. As we round the final few corners of the race now, we are going to come up to the line. Ricciardo's not going to catch us. It's going to be good enough for P4, and I can't complain about that. It was a pretty strong weekend, all things considered. So even though we finished lower than where we started, I'm not gonna complain about that one at all. Ocon gets driver of the day. I think that's fair enough. He went from P22 to P10. He had a penalty in the end, so yeah, that was a pretty strong performance from him. And the lights go out, and it's a pretty good start from us, as to be expected. We started at the back of the grid. We basically jumped Schumacher already. It's not Schumacher though, it's Guan Yu Zhou. But anyway, we jumped Zhou, and we jumped Stroll, and we jumped Tsunoda as we come into the first corner, and I think we're going to attack Latifi and Schumacher here as well. And yeah, as we come around the first corner, we're already up into P17. We're being attacked back by Latifi. We actually have to go off the track in order to keep our foot in it. And perhaps we should have conceded the place there, but I'm just going to try and hold on to what we've got for now. And yeah, now as we move on, You'll see Albon and Hamilton dueling up in front. Hamilton only made up one position so far, but he's going to be eager to get ahead of my teammate Enzo Fittipaldi, and also Kevin Magnussen, who is just ahead of him. He's going up the inside here. He's made up a few positions. I think he's even going to get ahead of Lundgaard there as we go around the outside of Albon and Fittipaldi as well. But Fittipaldi is actually going to fight us back. He's saying, just because I'm the number 2 driver on the team, you've started behind me on this occasion. That means I have every right to fight you, and I don't blame him. Norris won the race, and I'm sure a win has to be enough for him to win the championship, right? There's only 86 points up for grabs, and he was, I think, 70-something ahead of Leclerc before this race, so he'll move to about 80 or 90-ish ahead of Leclerc by the end of this Grand Prix. There's a yellow flag there. I'm not sure what that was for, but it seems like everyone crossed the line without too much issue, and we crossed the line P6, and we get driver of the day as well. So that's it's pretty nice to see. We did make it all the way up from P22, so maybe it's to be expected, and that was a pretty solid result. So that is a potentially brutal blow in our fight with Alpine. You know, if Alonso's getting on the podium here, I actually think Alpine will jump us. You know, Ocon's P6. How many points is that? That's 23 points to Alpine. They're going to jump us by a lot if these are their finishing positions, especially with Fittipaldi outside the points. He's down in last at the moment. We could be screwed in this championship fight. We're going to have to find out and see where the Alpines eventually finish. But for now, that is an absolutely brutal time to have a mechanical failure. So yeah, they pitted on lap 4 or 5, but there was no indication that he was going to pit again. And I think this was probably about the time in the race that I realised Perez, when he pitted on lap 4 or 5, was always planning to go to the end on these hard tyres. And in doing so, when I said I took the lead of the Grand Prix when I overtook Charles Leclerc on the safety car restart, that, whilst it was technically true on the road, I was not in the net lead of the race at that point, and I was never, ever leading this race. It was always Sergio Perez from the moment that he pitted onto those hard tyres, somehow smashing his front wing on a car in front, triggering a safety car, and then boxing for hard tyres to the end was the optimal strategy here, which is an absolutely insane thing to say, but it's the truth. You know, Sergio Perez would not have won this race if it weren't for that, and yeah, that spells the end of Magnussen's Grand Prix, and also the end of our Grand Prix as we cross the line to take P2. Result: we got P2 in Portugal, so if you haven't seen that race, I'd definitely recommend going back and watching it. There's a big twist, but not as big as this twist. Lewis Hamilton is retiring from Formula 1. He has announced this on the final weekend of the season, so that is going to trigger some driver moves, no doubt. I doubt they're going to promote a new driver straight up into that Mercedes seat. Alpine pick up 2 points and 4 points for a total of 6, so they recoup 5 points on us to move the gap to 7 points. I think the gap was actually 12 earlier when I said it was 11. And yeah, that's not quite the performance I was hoping for. I was hoping I'd be able to challenge the Alpines a bit more, but I mean, it's okay. We just have to make sure we're not being outscored by Alpine by 7 points, and we can keep track of this during the race. And my former teammate Christian Lundgaard is hitting Alonso where it hurts and hitting Alpine where it hurts by holding him up so much. Look at that. I'm literally right behind him all of a sudden. I've made up 2 seconds over the course of the first 20 seconds of this lap. Christian Lundgaard is the MVP, and if I had enough money, I would be trying to sign him back for Jaguar Racing right now, as he in his newfound home of Alfa Romeo has done me a massive favour here. It means that we're right over the back of Alonso in the section of the track where we're faster. We're going to go up the inside at a very unconventional spot and take P7 on the road at the moment, but once Gasly and Schwartzman have pitted, that will be P5. We are going to probably finish ahead of Verstappen, but I say that he's going to have DRS and we're out of battery, so he's closing us up as we come to the line, and in the end the gap was only half a tenth, but we managed to hold on to P4, and yeah, that was a scary end to a good race. We went from P7 to P4. We got ahead of both Alpines. We got ahead of the Red Bull and Max Verstappen, and that is the end. So, after that recap, we've just got a few things left to do to close out the 2024 season as we move into the 2025 season. We make the decision to spend some cash to boost our acclaim. We are going to renew our sponsors, and we finally got that chassis Spec 3 upgrade performed. And you know what that means? It means it's time for us to go absolutely nuts on chassis upgrades. We've got 10,000 resource points. I think that should be enough for us to get all of them. And if one of them is gated behind another one, we'll have a few extra weeks to invest in that one. We'll probably have all of these on the car by the time the following season starts. I mean, definitely if we're doing them at this point. So that's 2 upgrades we're putting on, 3 upgrades. Is there room for one more? I think there is. It's a brakes upgrade. And indeed, we have put 4 ultimate upgrades on the car right then and there, and those should be on the car in time for the end of the official season of development and everything. So yeah, we are sitting pretty as far as that is concerned so far, and we're just gonna have a look to see what boosts we get and whatnot, and see if we can perhaps get the engine upgrades that we want in order to sort of unlock a few more upgrades for us to do at the beginning of next season. I don't think we'll have the resource points to do that, but that's okay. Enzo Fittipaldi has been racist on Twitter or something, I don't know, but we have the choice to either apologize or completely ignore it. Apologizing seems like the lesser of 2 evils. I'm not really sure why ignoring it would only have cost us money and not cost us more acclaim, but I don't know. Either way, it's the kind of transgression that I'm definitely going to dock his pay if I do choose to keep him on. There's no way that I'm going to be paying him as much as he wants after he does something like that on the internet. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you can get away with that just because you're a Formula 1 driver, and I don't subscribe to that theory whatsoever. So we are initially going to renegotiate with Enzo Fittipaldi, but he is going to have to take a pay cut compared to what he's worth if he wants to drive for this team to prove that it was an isolated incident and that he is not going to drag this team's name through the mud even further like he did in this incident. So we are going to renegotiate with him, and we'll see if he agrees to our demands. We approach him, and you can see he actually is a pretty solid driver at this point. 83 rated. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. But we're going to give him the high risk offer. I said he's gonna have to pay for what he's done, and he wasn't prepared to. He says there'll be another team out there, probably Haas, that's willing to take me on regardless of the transgressions I've committed. So yeah, we are going to have to look elsewhere, unfortunately. And where better to look than initially at our former teammate Oscar Piastri. He was with us for half a season at the end of 2023 when Fittipaldi refused to re-sign for us the first time, and we're going to see if he's willing to drive for us again. He has accepted our demands, but we now need to see if he will take the money, which he didn't. He was willing to join, but only if we gave him a higher amount of money. So I guess it will probably be no to him. And then our final approach of the day, I think, is going to go to Théo Pourchaire. He's a very strong driver. Not quite got the racecraft of Fittipaldi, but he's stronger in just about every other department. And with some facility boosts, I think he could easily outshine Fittipaldi. And yeah, for that reason, we're going to give him the medium risk offer. He hasn't really done anything to warrant a low risk offer just yet, and we've got him. So Théo Pourchaire will be joining us for at least half a season in 2025. Hamilton is out of the sport. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer to find out who's replacing him. And we now have an option to see if we can spend some money to get some more resource points. And we do exactly that, because that is going to mean that once these 4 chassis upgrades are on the car, which all pass, which is fantastic, we will be immediately able to get the final one on the car, hopefully in time for the start of next season. We're going to have a maxed out chassis, we're going to have a maxed out aero, and the only thing that won't be maxed out in terms of performance will be the engine, which, if we're going to get as much cash as I think we're going to get, we'll be able to max that out pretty quickly, and then we can just focus on the final hitch of durability. And once that's done, there should be absolutely no reason why we aren't winning every single race. So, that is the conclusion of the 2024 season. Fittipaldi does not re-sign with us. I was hoping that perhaps we'd be able to get him, despite the social media shitstorm he whipped up. I was at least hoping that, you know, things would be able to remain as they'd been. We get 8.5 million for finishing 5th, 11 million for meeting the sponsor target, and that puts us on a total of $26 million going into the following season, which is an absolutely ludicrous amount of money. We take away 4 wins, 2 poles, 256 points, and a P3 in the Drivers' Championship. And yeah, definitely my strongest season to date by far, stronger than Season 2, which was already pretty strong. And I'm going to see if we can build on that moving forward. Hopefully Théo Pourchaire can also involve himself. And yeah, now we are going to add Abu Dhabi and Hungary back to the calendar, and we're going to be taking out Singapore. And I think the other track that we're going to take out is going to be the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya in Spain, and that will create our calendar for the following season. Now we just have a few more things to attend to in terms of the team details. Obviously, we're keeping the name Jaguar Racing. It's an iconic brand at this point, but I think we're going to negotiate with a new sponsor, and DSB Optics is offering us an extra 5k a week if we can finish 3rd or better in the Constructors' Championship. We get an extra 200 grand for signing on with them. That brand 7, I think they're called, want 300 Constructors' Championship points. I think that might be slightly out of reach, although one might argue that in order to finish P3 in the Constructors' Championship, we might need to score that many points anyway, so perhaps that would have been a wiser target, but still, I'm aiming for P3 in the Constructors this season. I want Pourchaire to be involved in the fight. And that is pretty much all we have time for. I'm going to leave you on a reveal of our new livery, and hopefully I will see you in the 2025 season.